important effects beyond the individuals at whom they're directed. In short, health, healthcare, and health behaviors are collective, social network-based phenomena. Groups have properties that are not inherent in the individuals themselves. If we're to understand what's happening in a collection of individuals, it's not enough to just study the actions of particular individuals. We have to find ways of studying the whole group at once. This touches on a long-standing set of debates in philosophy and social science, this debate between methodologic holism and methodologic individualism, the latter of which sees group properties as being reducible to individuals. The classic example is Adam Smith's idea of a market and an invisible hand that creates a market. And methodological holism sees that we have to study the whole group at the same time to understand the group. And it also touches on issues of free will. Because if you believe what I'm saying right now, it means that what happens to you is not just a function of your own choices and thoughts and actions and experiences, but also a function of the choices and actions and thoughts of experiences of the people to whom you are connected. Thank you. Now let's do some conversation. The room is hot, so a lot of you are dozing off. I'm blaming the room temperature, not my speaking. Any questions? Especially from the students or faculty? Yeah?
I'm a psychiatric nurse clinician, and I'm fascinated by, since I teach undergraduate psych nursing to our students here, how your findings have implications for wellness of people struggling with mental illness. In particular, last week we talked about suicide.
Yes.
Depression, and some of the students come from a local high school where there's been a cluster of suicides.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about eating disorders
Yes.
in 2 weeks, and there is some interesting literature on the clustering of
Yes.
thinness.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I was wondering if you could comment as a clinician, as
Yes.
a physician,
Yes.
how do we take your findings and those of us who care for people
Yes.
in the clinic here or in hospitals, apply them to caring for populations?
Okay. Picking up on the, after our work appeared, I should say everything in the obesity was symmetrical, so spread of thinness spreads just like obesity does. And there's no doubt that some of these clustering of suicide and anorexia, for example, probably are determined by the behaviors of other people around you. We were actually contacted by some people that are interested in, well, does this have therapeutic implications? Could we treat anorexia in some ways by exploiting some of these ideas? There was also some popular attention to this. There was an article that appeared in The Guardian, a British newspaper, that talked about the skinny flu that was spreading amongst actresses who were becoming very thin. And James Fowler and I had a big laugh because it's the only paragraph. It had a picture of Posh Spice and talked about Posh Spice and James Fowler in the same paragraph. So I was spared this association. And it had pictures of all these actresses that the claim was being made that there was a kind of race to the bottom, like who was going to get thinner. So there are some implications, some policy implications. First of all, it suggests that therapeutic interventions that target groups of individuals rather than individuals are more likely to be successful. And we have good reason to know this already with Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Weight Watchers, group-level treatments. And there's some beautiful work that Rena Wing has done at Brown, looking at sort of randomizing, taking groups of individuals, some of whom are randomized to be treated as groups, others of whom are randomized to be treated as individuals, finding that weight loss is, weight loss in that case is more likely to occur in the group randomized than non-group randomized. So first thing. Second thing, and this came up in the Facebook thing, there's this old idea from sociology by a sociologist by the name of George Simmel that address this issue of triadic closure. So imagine that you are a BC student, and you have two friends. Here's the ego, here's alter 1, and here's alter 2. And here in another situation, here's, in this situation, so you've got two different situations. In situation number 1, you have two friends, but they're not friends with each other. And in situation number 2, you have two friends, and they are friends with each other. This is known as triadic closure, when you have just a threesome. And in larger groups, you can have mathematical expressions that capture the extent of the extent to which your friends are friends with each other, that capture the clustering within the group. Okay, in which of these two situations do you think that this individual would be happier? Some of you that are college kids, do you guys have problems with your friends? Raise your hands if you're a student here. Okay, you. What do you think? Yeah, you. Which of these two situations do you think the person would be happier in? In this situation or in this situation?
I think it depends. If you're having a problem with one of your friends, it might be nice to have another person to hang out or like another outlet. But I mean, if you're all going out together and you want to hang out with all your friends,
Yes.
it's nice to everyone's friends.
Okay, it depends. Okay, someone else that's going to be less depending. Yeah, you.
The second model, because everyone is sort of mutually associated and it's much easier to associate with one another and do things.
And coordinate activities. That's exactly right, okay? Now, your ideas weren't bad either, and I'll actually come back to it in just a moment. Because what happens over here is, if you're this person and these are two of your girlfriends, okay, the likelihood that you're going to get conflicting information about the world is higher here than here. And these people are more able to enforce a norm on you because they can collude with each other, just like you were talking about going out to a party. They can say, okay, let's drag Betty along to the party over here, okay? So this idea of triadic closure and some work done by Peter Behrman using the AdHealth data set shows that suicidal ideation is higher in kids that are in this circumstance, in young women especially, than in this circumstance, okay? So if they are in a circumstance in which their friends are not friends to each other, it's more depressing to them. And it increases the likelihood of suicidal ideation. So some of these network ideas, in fact, are being applied and looked at to help understand these suicidal behaviors. And more generally, one can think about the spread of suicidal ideation as a kind of network phenomenon that we've been discussing. Any other questions? Yeah. Okay. Second slide. Okay, so we're going to have to scroll through these slow loading ones, unfortunately. This one? This one, yeah.
These waves are happening over time. I'm wondering about whether or not you interpret some of
This thing, no, not really. Here yeah, well, the question is there, actually, we find in smoking, we do interpret this decline. What we find in smoking is that there is an increasing intensity in interpersonal transmission with time. So the effectiveness of my smoking cessation on causing your smoking cessation is more powerful at waves, subsequent waves, than at earlier waves. Here, these things are within the sampling frame. It looks like there's something going on, but if you look, this is flat and this is flat. These are all flat except for this alter distance 2. So we don't think that there's a difference in transmission or association. Okay, whatever, yeah. Yeah.
Back to those two examples that you gave, because they suggest that we may be able to determine or identify characteristics among individuals or groups that make them more susceptible to contagion.
Yeah, we looked hard for this, and it's covered a little bit in this online supplement to the paper, because there's this idea that was popularized by Malcolm Gladwell in The Tipping Point on this notion of hubs. You know, like if you find very influential individuals in the network. So, for example, if you, that the idea that if this person gained weight that's right smack in the network, that person would be much more likely to influence the network than individuals at the periphery of the network that are less central. So this is a property of a node known as hubbiness. So the question is, does hubbiness cause chubbiness? And the answer is no, actually. We looked. And actually, there's been a lot of work that's been done looking at this in a variety of settings. And the kind of dispiriting, well, it depends on your perspective, but the dispiriting conclusion is that actually hubs are not as influential as we would have thought. So if you're a marketing executive seeking out a particular individual that seems to have lots of ties, high vertex degree, is not necessarily a process or influence. Yeah? But before you ask the question, but there are other ways that you can identify subsets of individuals who you might want to target to maximize the spread of a desirable phenomena, other than picking the hubs. And these are some ideas that have been more recently developed, which we can talk about. I'm sorry, your next question was?
What is the external validity? You looked at a specific population.
Yes?